It's on.
Okay, yeah. Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Susan Damiani, and I am the Director of Gift Planning and the Director of the McAllen Society, which is our legacy society. And as you know, we're closing out our celebration of the arts for the month of April. It really was a fun month. We had great programming. We involved our art and design and performing arts groups, and we did a virtual tour of the Whitney Museum. So it's been great. It was really a great month. I can't believe May 1st is tomorrow. Going to have the Kentucky Derby. So it's going to be exciting. I don't know if any of you follow horses, but today, our hello video, I'm with the former chair of the Art and Design Department and a very good friend and a fellow member of Ladies of Charity, Belenna Lauto. Hi, Belenna. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for asking me for this to be here,
Oh,
Susan.
you're welcome. And we're saying hello from where?
We're saying hello right now from Hicksville. That's
Oh,
that's
great.
that's where
So
I
we're
live in
saying
Long
hello from
Island.
Hicksville, New
Yes.
York. Great. I love it. Long Island. And Belenna actually was a professor of mine. I know she looks like she's 10 years old.
Not at all.
She never changes. She looks exactly the same as when I went to school. And she was a great, great professor. And so, how many years now have you been at St. John's?
Oh my gosh, I started in 1985, so
And I
it's over
graduated
30
87.
years.
That's you were 2 years a teacher when I
Yes,
started with you.
yes. So
That's
I was,
amazing.
I'm glad that you said I was a good teacher then because I
You
thought I was a
were.
horrible teacher when I started. So hopefully I was a better teacher 10 years and I kept improving and I'm still improving. But yeah, over 30 years, I can't believe it either.
And are you still teaching the photography classes?
I do. I teach
Hmm.
photography classes. I
Right,
also teach a class called Urban Documents, and it's really photo based. I guess very excited about that class because it's kind of photography and sociology mixed together.
right.
And
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
and I'm teaching
Yeah.
photo too this semester, which I haven't taught in a while because while I was chair the last 7 years, I didn't teach the
Mm.
major, so that was kind of sad. But I'm really happy to do that again.
So that was 7 years? It
It
doesn't
was
seem that
seven
long.
years this past time.
Wow.
Yeah,
You were a great chair. It was great
thank
working with
you.
you because our office always works so closely with art and design, but it's because of you and the other
And
professors.
you did great things for the
You're,
arts and awareness, and you
oh, you're
continue to.
welcome.
So we really appreciate that.
Oh, you're so team oriented, and I just think art and design is a terrific department. The professors and students is like a tight knit family. But in talking about photography, obviously when I took your class in 1987, photography has changed so much. So, what was that like being a professor with the technology moving so rapidly?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think yes, of course, I learned that with analog. I learned with film, and then we quickly went into digital, and all of a sudden now it's a constant learning. You know I think as art really the purpose of art, right? The purpose of documenting, it never really changes, so
Hmm.
the tools are different, but the mind and the thought process and the creative process, if you will, is always growing and remaining the same. The same. I guess from its core, but always growing and changing, and so you have to just learn new tools. I will say that it's annoying me more now, believe it or not, than before. I think as I get older, and it's also this whole last year, right? Because we're all staring at the computer, constantly with teaching, with meetings, with everything. So now when I have to edit my work and I have to open the computer again, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go
No.
out with my camera
Mm,
photographing, which is actually what I've been doing a lot more, which is great. And actually
mm,
back to collage work as well, just to get away from the computer, I think.
hmm.
But the change, I mean, it was very quick, but it was also gradual in a way. And I think now we just like like we tell our students, like it's almost we're teaching you to learn and keep on learning because even we have to keep on learning, software,
Right.
whatever the case may be. But again, the tool is always the tool. The artist, that's a whole different, ball game, right? So
What do you think, or if you think anything has been lost with the photography world
Mm.
with technology? Has there been, I mean, I'm sure there's been a lot of pluses because I guess it's easier or maybe faster to do some things or, to process film and everything. But has the technology taken anything away?
I do think it has. I think it has taken away contemplation, um, thought process, right? I mean, you think about film, we had, like as a student, maybe you could afford two rolls of film. I mean, you remember, right?
Right,
Even though it was my major, I had to develop it and it was costly.
right.
It was color, wow, like that was super expensive. So maybe you had 72 pictures that you really had to use and you really had to think about it, right? So, you look through the viewfinder, you think, oh, should I press the button? No, maybe not. Maybe I'll look at this or I'll look at this. And then there's also the idea of patience, right? So we couldn't see what we actually photographed until it was developed,
Mm.
until we have the proof sheet. And then it almost became another whole thought process, right? Oh, I thought I took this picture, but I really didn't. Now I like this more. Oh, what was I looking at here? What was I seeing this? So that whole process, I think, is really lost in digital.
That's interesting.
Digital is like, oh, I have my SD card. I can take like 1,000 pictures,
Right.
and believe me, I can take 1,000 pictures in a day. Like there's so, and then I can check them and I can see, oh, do I like? No, like that creative process in many ways is lost, or maybe I should say it's shifted, right? So it's
Mm.
different. But then,
Right.
then you're committed to looking at these 1,000 images on the computer screen, and your eyes are just burnt out. And are you really choosing, the right thing or not? So I've tried to train
Mm.
myself to shoot a lot less, as if I were doing analog, and that's also a process. Does that make sense?
And yeah, no, it does. And I never thought of it that way, but it makes total sense. Where did your love for photography come from?
Ah, you know what? My my dad was always a lover of the arts. I don't know if you know, I'm a Cuban immigrant. I don't know if people
Hmm.
knew that, and he always wanted to go to college. They could never afford it. So he just went. He went to work. He wanted to be a clarinet player, and my grandfather never
Mm.
allowed it. Because he thought jazz was for like
Right, right.
not
Hmm.
not the not the good men, right, or
Right,
women.
right.
Um, but he brought that love. I mean, he left Cuba with two little girls with nothing, nothing. He came here. He
Wow.
worked 20 hours in factories, and you know what? With faith and with God, he prevailed. He became vice president of a huge Spanish company. I mean, I
Wow.
lost him last
Really?
year, so I'm heartbroken.
I
But
know. I'm so sorry.
thank you.
Yeah.
But he was a catalyst for art always. Like, even art in the world. Like he would love to go to Central Park when we first got here. That's all we could afford, is just walk in a park. And he would
Right.
love the visual, and he would make us listen to classical music. He would know like every big band and jazz great. So
Oh,
he
I would have
always,
gotten along really well with
we
him.
yeah, we grew, and he was
That's
a
my love.
he loved photography too, absolutely.
Oh.
And then in high school, I actually wanted to be a writer because he also had a love of writing. He was a super educated man, by the way,
Mm.
more educated than anyone with a doctorate that I've ever seen. He
Wow.
basically memorized Shakespeare and Jose Marti, and like he was unbelievable, an avid reader.
Wow.
But in high school, I came across this book on W. Eugene Smith, who was one of life's iconic documentary photographers, and I saw this essay he had done on Maud Callan, which was a nurse in North Carolina, a nurse midwife, and my heart just turned. I was like, oh my gosh, like if this could be done in photography and really like change the world. He actually was able to get funding for them, and a hospital was built eventually so they can help the community there, and I just fell in love with it. And interestingly enough, like I thought I would, my passion would always lay in documentary, but it didn't. It grew more into, I hate the word fine art for photography because I don't really know
Mm.
what that means, but more conceptual, more contemplative, personal work. But I still love documentary, but I mean, how photography can make us see the world from a
Yes.
different perspective, and really contemplate on that, and also by the process, we become better people because it opens our minds, our hearts to other points of views, right? To how people see things, to how people are
Hmm.
in the world, so many things. And I just loved it. I love looking at life through the viewfinder.
That's great. Yeah, I like the photography. Obviously, taking your class, you shared your passion for it, and it rolls off on your students. So it's something that during the pandemic I liked even to take some pictures, and it was something fun to do. I
Oh,
think
so
it's a great
important.
hobby as well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, you laugh. I actually last summer, like we were a lot more locked down, and like I would go with my phone and just like document like all the masks and gloves that I would see in my
Oh,
neighborhood. Like,
really?
why are
They
people throwing
were.
these out? But I was like, oh, they're kind of a thing of beauty, So it
They
just,
are.
it's,
That's interesting too.
it's,
Yeah.
it's, in-
You'll
it's
have to share those with us. I would love to see
I
them.
will.
Yeah. In fact, when I was speaking to Professor DeLuna, who now, as you know, is the chair,
Yeah.
art and design, and we did a hello video with her. We wanted to do something, but because everybody was busy this week, it was hard to get all the professors to come together. We wanted to do sort of a show and tell, but maybe we could do that in the next couple of weeks, and you'll have to be part of it. You could show us some of
That
your
would be fun.
photography on
But
the
there's so
mask.
many,
I
yeah,
think
there's
that
so
would be
many great
fun.
faculty too, and she's doing an amazing job. And what a hard year to be
Yeah,
chair for the first
it is
time.
the
So
hard year. Yeah.
she's
But what I've
influenced us a
noticed
lot.
is the professors are busy with, other, she's graphic design, but she was making
Yeah.
pottery, and I just thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
she does
So
beautiful ceramics. Yes.
yeah, so we were saying like I I even said to her, I was like, we have to find out what the other professors did during the pandemic, because I mean, that's what's great about being an artist. Like, look at what you could create, being stuck inside,
It'd be
you
super
know.
fun. But we're all
Yeah.
artists, right? We all love like
Oh,
things.
that's true.
I mean, it's
That's
just so
true.
many things that we can do. So
hmm That's great. So before we close, if you could share with our society members, uh, a little insight into the art and design department, because I think, like you said, we've worked so closely together for so many years. I think many of the society members now know that we have this flourishing art and design department. When I first started, people were like, "What? We have art?" I was like, "Yeah, we've had it for so many years," and people didn't know. But maybe you can just bring some insight of um, a little bit about the art and design department, about our students, and so forth.
sure. I mean, our department has been, growing and is still growing. We started with very basic things, and now we have these amazing studios that the university supported, amazing equipment, state of the art digital technology from 3D printers, to, oh my gosh, to just about anything, Cintiq tablets. But I think the equipment is amazing, and it allows us to be able to make those things available for our students so that they can learn and put their creative ideas into practice, and also learn the tools and technology of the field. But I think what our department, what makes us, well, maybe I'm biased, but what makes us special is that I I mean, especially having been chair for for so many years, not just this past 7 years, but also from 1998 to 2004, I was chair, so that was like over a decade ago. Is that the faculty and the students are really a community of artists, and the faculty put their heart and soul into their students, and we care about them. We want them to seek their voice and say it. We want them to look at things from all different perspectives, and as a community of artists should be, whether we agree or not with certain things. It's okay, because that's important, because I want my students to be able to give their voice, to work towards their voice and being that effective, right, in the visual field. And as we can present to them so many things, it's always that, like, how do you become a better artist each day. What do we learn from critiques? But
Hmm.
I just think that the department really cares, about the student. Not that I'm sure everyone, there's many
No, I
schools that
understand, but no,
practice
I've
the
seen
same
it. I
thing.
know
I
what
mean,
you're
I
talking
mean, I'm
about.
biased.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm also an alumni of St. John's,
Right,
right?
right,
My older son is an alumni of
right.
St. John's, and he's
Hmm.
he's an illustrator and a teacher
Hmm.
as well. And but I just love the community. I don't think as faculty we've always been supportive of each other. Sometimes in universities you hear like all of this like kind
Hmm.
of jealousy and stuff like that. I don't think I've never seen that in our department. Like I love to hear when other faculty have these amazing shows and grants and awards, and it always goes back to the students, right? We always
Hmm.
want to share what we're doing so that they can be inspired and just help them to be the personal best. And I also think in the
Hmm.
context of a Catholic university, for me, that's really important.
Hmm.
I mean, my faith, I can almost say probably defines me more than anything else. And I do believe that. I believe that sometimes I mean, like we are each a child of God, we are part of God's kingdom, which, we are sons and daughters of the King of Kings. I tell my students, you're all royalty. I have to treat you like a royalty because of that.
That's
And it
cute.
doesn't matter, like, I mean, it is who we are. Our humanity is so beautiful. It's such a gift. The fact that we have free will, the fact that we can create, and the fact that we can work towards becoming holier or better each day. That's an
Hmm.
amazing thing. And we hope that our students will go out and make the world a better place through their art and through their work.
Very well said. I'm not going to say anything more. That was a great way to close out our hello video. Thank you so
All
much.
right,
But
Susan.
it's so true because your art and design, you definitely feel that passion from the students and from the faculty, to each other. So it's really
I
nice.
hope so.
But
I'm
thank
very
you for
blessed.
joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for everything you do as well.
Oh, you're welcome. No, thank you. You're doing a great job, and we're so glad that you're still teaching at St. John's
All right.
for so many years. That's terrific.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great day, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.